The Devil Wears Prada 2 is the apex of baffling sequels. We've seen all kinds of franchises brought back, rebooted, stretched to their very limit. But this film is just bizarre. Even the first film is a delight. It's, a fun fashion flick with a comedic lens on an insane real life industry and how it creates monsters. And, it's told with romance and sass. I love it, but I never thought, oh yeah, I wonder what those guys are doing 20 whole years later. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because we've got our sequel, pointless or not. Here it is. Everyone's back. Fashion has changed a lot in 2 decades, and I think honestly, maybe they should have left this one alone.
Yeah, it's just very pointless. I just don't see anything exciting to continue 20 years later. Like, they just brought everyone back. Emily Blunt and Hathaway, Meryl Streep, Stanley Tucci. It's been a long time since I watched the first movie, but I remember the first movie being very iconic in terms of like the intense, zany moments that happen. And here we are, yeah. The band's all back together. Nothing new. This is a film that just brings absolutely nothing new to the table. It tries to do something smart in terms of its concept from the get-go of exploring downsizing, layoffs, and how fashion magazine is completely slowly deteriorating. I think we've seen that, like how magazines bring human creativity, but not here. You don't see this. It's just a very safe film. It's a very safe film.
This is the Out of Time Film Podcast, where your hosts Tom and John discuss everything from blockbuster films to TV and games like there's no tomorrow.
Apologies for my mic, not going to sound as good. Miranda Priestley actually cut our budget, so
Yeah, she allowed me to keep this mic, so
she got one of
you can
us.
hear my
Yeah.
beautiful voice.
Yeah, so before we get into the episode properly, I have to announce that the Out of Time magazine is probably going to be scrapped. It's a real shame.
I was about to write an article about how great Space Jam 2 is. I wanted
Oh,
to talk
okay.
about the god
Maybe it should be destroyed. Maybe we've gone too far. Yeah, there are elements where I see I went, oh, there's something there. There's something really interesting there about aging and, as you say, human art. There's even a scene where we see a bunch of, when a film does memes and somebody's scrolling through the internet and you look at them and you're just like, who signed off on these? But there is one AI image. And I was like, oh, that's such a shit. And then I found out today they actually commissioned an artist to make that. And I think that that's so, that the film clearly has its heart in the right place. But that feels almost like a second thought to what the film is actually doing, which is just kind of retreading a lot of the elements of the first film. They bring back Anne Hathaway into the mix with Runway and Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci, and the film is more concerned with telling a story about her reintegrating into the folds, having to prove herself again than it is doing anything new. And I think that it's such a shame because we could do both. I don't understand why these kinds of films. I think we found the worst genre. These films that are 10, 20, 30 years after another film and they bring back all the cast and they just do it again, essentially. There are some really great examples of that. But I think most of the time, because it's happening so often now, it's just nothing. It's so often it's nothing. Before this film, there was a trailer for a cool kind of like spooky, witchy film with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. And I was watching it going, ooh, this looks cool. What's this? This is kind of interesting. And then it was like Practical Magic 2. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's a sequel to another film,
The number
probably.
two always
Yeah,
brings back everybody. The number two.
exactly. And I was like, yeah, this is probably a film from 20 years ago. Great. Okay, fantastic. The sequel is probably just going to be more of that. And I think this is just a genre that is doomed to just be stuck in a cycle. And unless you get interesting filmmakers like Denis Villeneuve with Blade Runner 2049 or Ryan Johnson for The Last Jedi, you're just going to be stuck in that same, we're doing the thing again. We're doing the nostalgia again.
I looked at the writers for the movie. They're the same from the first movie. It's just the same
Wow.
two writers. And I'm like, huh, I wonder what happened here. I mean, 20 years passed.
They so clearly should have hired different writers. Bringing back the same people, it doesn't always mean that they know what's best. I think so often you need a fresh perspective. You need to bring somebody in who will say, okay, what's the core of this? And where can we take it in ways that it hasn't gone before?
One of them wrote Cruella, and we bought a zoo.
Oh, I used to love that movie. That's where the passion is.
We have to bring in new concepts. We can't just be stuck in this horrible cycle. Just like, we've seen this again. We don't want this. Obviously, the industry is obsessed of bringing back people, and it feels way more hollow. What's the point of doing a sequel if we're trying to recreate some of the stuff that happens in the movie? Like, there were some jokes with Meryl Streep, Miranda. She completely changes how she puts her coat up from the first film into the second one. It's like small tidbits, like small stuff from the first movie that we like, but it's like, how about we just see new funny things?
It's knocking on the door of some really interesting concepts. This idea of things have changed in the fashion industry, in workplace culture. There are scenes where they talk about body positivity, and we get into the idea of, cancel culture, and the cutthroat nature of Miranda Priestley in 2006 is very different than what is allowed in the workplace today. That's really interesting. There's so much that I wanted to see more of. But as you say, the film is more interested in being the stuff again. What's the value of that? You might get people watching this film at the cinema a bit. I mean, I don't know how popular this film will be. I don't know if it will have legs. I don't know if there will be good word of mouth about this film. I think people will just kind of be like, it's The Devil Wears Prada again, but you really could just watch a better version of that.
Wait, Justin Theroux was in this movie? I'm just looking at the cast. Justin Theroux. Yes, he was Benji Barnes.
Yeah, he was,
I was like,
a massive part of that film.
I don't know what happened during that movie. I was like, this movie is so predictable. Like, what's going to happen?
Yes.
Like, I even called out, oh yeah, spoilers. Yeah, spoilers. Irv, the big business guy, the big dude, the big cheese. I predicted that he was going to have a heart attack in that party. And I was right.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to give that speech one way or another.
And it was like the most dramatic way ever on the table. Like, what's the deal with tables? Like, the tables just break in every type of movie. Like, there's someone have a heart attack. Oh, the table! Does anyone think about the table?
Yeah,
No.
You can't have a heart attack unless you are going to lean against something with a lot of breakable objects.
Plates, don't forget the plates.
Glasses, everything breaks as you fall.
And then we just cut to a funeral straight away. Like, that was so bizarre. It was like for a party. Like, oh yeah, we saw a lot of famous people in that party. Amanda de Moldenberg.
Yes, I saw her. There's a really, really odd Lady Gaga appearance. We know that she's a phenomenal actor. I mean, come on. She's in 2 scenes, one of which is just one take of her talking to Miranda in a mirror. And it's so flat. You wouldn't know that she's such a great actor based on that. I don't know if that's the direction. I don't know if she just didn't really care. But it's that. And then we get a little performance from her in Milan. And again, it's so dry. I feel like they should have flown in somebody who knows how to direct music videos or something like that, because it was just a couple of shots of people walking and then her singing this. It didn't feel like they had any kind of gravitas. It's like, oh, this is Runway's big show.
It just felt very superficial. Yeah.
It did. When you're making a sequel, this is Devil Wears Prada 2. Can I just say, dreadful title. Even the title is uninteresting. If we call it The Devil Still Wears Prada, or
Stiletto.
There are better titles out there than just The Devil Wears Prada 2. It's boring. This film, we coined the phrase last week, and here it is already. This film is a herm. It is just a pointless, uninteresting thing that just totally kills any momentum and any interest that I have in this. I mean, even the way that the film looks, it looks like a car commercial. It is washed out. I just thought to myself, oh, it's funny that Italy and New York have the exact same climate, because the color grading is the same for 2 places on the opposite sides of the globe. And yeah, it's just both of them are a little bit overcast. It's like, oh, okay, I guess the sun is on vacation for this film. Boring and grey and dull. It's like you were saying earlier that there's a funeral. The funeral looks the same as all the other scenes. There's no mood
It's
lighting.
like in a very expensive place for a funeral. It's like overlook New York. And it's like, oh yeah, big sign.
It's a grey room in a grey city, and I'm sorry, but no city is just grey. And I feel like so often films are just like, yeah, it's just a concrete, boring. It's like, no, this film is filmed in New York. I saw that in the credits, and we see in the film like trees and little places, and it's like, give them color, god damn it.
New York is very vibrant. Like, I've been there a few times. It's so creatively passionate how people intertwine, with fashion and with art. But here, it's just what this film does is it only follows Anne Hathaway just running around New York or running around Italy, like trying to get stuff done. Tom Cruise has some serious competition right here. Like, she's just getting through a lot of things done. It's the same thing from the first movie, but here, there's no exploration.
I'm so fascinated with how this film was made, because I think that it was kind of chopped up to hell well. Now, there's a whole character in this who, once I noticed this one thing, I couldn't get it out of my head. The boyfriend character. We have a new arbitrary boyfriend for Anne Hathaway because, of course, she can't stand alone as a character unless she's got a man to fight with and to talk about and to be in love with. But she never talks about this guy to anyone other than her one friend. He never interacts with anyone else. The one scene that he is in with other people, which is at the big birthday party, he immediately, upon walking in, is like, oh, look, it's Hugh Jackman, and leaves. And so we don't see him. I think this guy was a reshoot. I think that he wasn't in the original cut of the film. And that's why we never see him interact with the big hitters, Emily Blunt, Meryl Streep, Stanley Tucci. It's just him and Anne Hathaway. He was fine. He was nothing. He felt so added in for no reason. There was nothing to say about that. It's like, again, there are these ideas where Anne Hathaway talks about, oh, she's frozen some eggs. And Emily Blunt's character is divorced with kids. And Miranda, who knows what husband she's on now. But there is this idea about work and relationships. And that very much is a strong part of the first film. It's very, very intertwined with that narrative. And this time it just felt like they were like, oh, we need a boyfriend. So let's just add him in and we'll give a really rudimentary, nothing fight between the two of them. And it's like, oh, they've broken up. It's like, no, they haven't broken up.
No,
They
they've
had
broken
one
up.
disagreement. Like, come on.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. It's like small characters that don't have an impact at all. I mean, Kenneth Branagh was in this movie as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, he plays Stuart. Well, okay, when he said he flew from Norway, that gave me flashbacks to Tenet, the concert in Oslo. He's like, oh my God, what if this film's connected? He's appearing as the guy from Tenet to
His
this.
hair and his beard is the exact same as in
Like,
Tenet.
literally.
Oh my God, it's part of the same universe.
He's infiltrating Runway.
His first line is so bizarre because he says something about like, oh, everyone needs a villain. And I was like, are you the villain of this film? Why would you say that? It's such a bizarre line.
He is a villain. He's a villain in Tenet. That's connected.
It's true. You got to think about this. Got to think about this film backwards. So I thought that line was really weird, but then I realized, no, this film is just people speaking the themes out. There's a whole bit where Andy sees the Last Supper painting and Miranda comes up behind her and is like, ah, yes, betrayal. It's everywhere. It's always from the people you least expect. And Andy's like, oh no, she knows that I've gone behind her back. And then there's this whole thing with Emily actually being the one to betray. It's just a case of you couldn't have done that more subtly with just a look. I think about the ending of the first film and that one shot of Miranda looking back at Andy tells you so much. Whereas in this film, the ending is so much more ham-fisted where Andy and Emily meet up and Emily's like, oh, I think we could be mates. And they're like, oh yeah, let's be mates. And I think that's so much more boring than in the first film where Emily's not the kind of person who would say it out loud, but there is a respect between the two of them. And I think now it just feels like this kind of bland corporate. Andy's holding her Starbucks cup. She looks wistfully at Miranda, and Miranda's like, get out of here. And then she laughs at the article. It just feels so much less interesting. Everyone's had a bunch of work on their face. Nobody's face moves properly. I just sat there just thinking to myself, you've just made nothing.
This film achieved nothing. That's an accomplishment, I think. It's like they achieved nothing in terms of character goals. They achieved nothing.
I don't understand why they seem to be so risk averse in telling a new story, because really it didn't seem to me like the actors were necessarily bringing anything. Like, it didn't feel as iconic. Meryl Streep as Miranda Priestley, that was an Oscar nominated role. It's iconic, it's amazing, it's camp, it's brilliant. And in this film, it doesn't feel nearly as sharp and witty, and it doesn't feel like there's the same passion behind it, because we're kind of dragging back something from 2006. And maybe they could have taken the opportunity to change it and be like, yeah, how has the changes in fashion, the changes in the world changed Miranda? But instead you just get a couple of scenes where she's like, body positivity, what's that? It just feels so ham-fisted.
Yeah. And then Lucy Liu, she's in this as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
There's like a sequence where Andy wants to get the interview with Lucy Liu's character. She's like, oh yeah, I got the Hail Mary, I got this. And then she goes to like this massive place Lucy Liu lives. And then it's like, oh, thank you for this interview. But then later on, she's like actually really important for the plot. She's the one that just buys Runway. And it's like, how could she afford this? Did I miss something in the dialogue or something? I don't know.
They explain her so briefly at the beginning, and then it's supposed to be this impossible task to get her an interview. It's not very impossible, and Hathaway does it easily. It's that scene from the first film again where Miranda asks for the Deathly Hallows manuscript. But that felt impossible because the film does have the added benefit of not needing to explain how important and how difficult it would be to get the unfinished book. But also, there's a time limit. We know that Miranda has chosen something specifically difficult to have an excuse to fire her. Whereas in this film, it's just like, I have an idea and I'm going to do it. And she does it. And it's like, all right, cool, great. It just,
Cool.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's.
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like, are we complaining for no reason? I mean, there are good things in this film. Apparently,
what?
I think. Don't you?
I don't know what's good about. I mean, it's not like offensive or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
not,
like
it's not horrendous. There's a competent plot.
There's something there in the ether or something.
Yeah, there are
yeah.
moments. Like, I think when there's a new management and we get into the whole idea of budgets being cut and people having to contend with management that only cares about money to the point where they will just eradicate any human intervention. That stuff was interesting. It was different in the first film. You could feel the pain of everyone. And it felt so real because those kind of greedy individuals are exactly what we see all the time now. I thought that was really interesting what they were doing with that. It's few and far between. I think this film will be fun if you want to switch your brain off and do Devil Wears Prada again. But if you want an interesting sequel, and it can be both, it can be fun and interesting, but it's not. These films can do that, but they don't. And so, yeah, I guess that's Devil Wears Prada. I have nothing else to say.
It's a film.
What are you going to give it out of 10?
A 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think also a 5.
Yeah.
It's so run of the mill. It's so just fluff.
I have nothing else to say, really. It's just void.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you liked it, you can like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can follow and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. And next week, we're actually talking about Maul Shadow Lord. Feels like the show only started a couple of weeks, but it's over. It's here. It's time to talk about another Star Wars.
Yeah, another Star Wars.
Absolutely. and you can send us an email, let us know your thoughts on Maul Shadow Lord, and we'll answer it in the podcast next week.
Yes, you can follow us on Instagram at Out of Time Film Pod to see our incredible thumbnails from Zain, on Twitter for more thoughts from me and Tom, and TikTok to see edited clips, which are all also on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And you can find links to that all in the description below. Thanks to Elle for the excellent theme and Ronan for vocals as always. And I think that's everything. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.